Hi everyone, I'm Gayatri. I'm the Director of Consumer Innovations at Dimagi, where I help to build Dimagi's chatbot portfolio, and I focus on chatbots for lower and middle income countries. So in the global digital health sector today, there are an increasing number of chatbots being developed. And as a quick recap, who are we designing these chatbots for? Mostly people in LMICs. What are the health areas we're talking about? Numerous health areas. And where is the funding for these chatbots coming from? In most cases, funders or other organizations headquartered in high-income countries. So in many of the conversations I've had about chatbots with external organizations and prospective partners over the last couple of years, I've kept something of a mental tally of the number of times I've been asked about how to make chatbots that give people information, or the number of times I've seen it on a request for proposals. And what I wanted to do was see how that chatbot use case of giving people information compared with other requests for other chatbot use cases. Turns out there really wasn't much analysis needed. In most cases, giving people information was what everyone wanted to get a chatbot for. And that could be for a variety of health areas, family planning, nutrition, maternal and childcare. For all of those and more, giving people information about that health area was the top goal. Another trend I found was that there wasn't a clear idea of what organizations really wanted as the end result from this chatbot. There wasn't a predetermined end goal, some intended outcome for the chatbot being requested. The main outcome seemed to be just giving people information. And there was a trend. The more organizations seemed to want an informational chatbot, the less there was a sense of what the expected impact of the chatbot should be. So we looked into the literature. What does the evidence say for the impact of giving people information? And we found that the literature on various SPCC interventions shows that information alone is not sufficient to change health behaviors. A resource I found helpful is a JPAL review from 2021 of 34 studies from LMICs that says much the same. And so to put that finding in a more practical chatbot-related example, let's say we wanted to make a chatbot for women in India to increase the uptake of contraception, for example, condoms. So now in India, based on recent data, we know that 99% of married couples in our target age group already know about contraception. But even though there is knowledge about contraceptive methods, we also know that 36% of women got sterilized. And how many couples used condoms? 6%. Why is that? 3 in 8 men in India believe that contraception is not a man's problem, it's a woman's problem. So that probably has something to do with it. So to go back to our problem statement, can an informational chatbot for women in India drive the uptake of contraceptive methods, such as condoms? Probably not, right? So what can we do instead? If our real goal is to improve health behaviors, and we know that giving people information is not sufficient, how do we leverage chatbots to meet that goal? Some ideas. The first, can we use chatbots to capture the interest of people who may not otherwise be interested in a particular health area? Second, can we design chatbots that take into account a target user's life and the reasons they make the health decisions they do? And finally, could we study the effectiveness of the chatbots we design? For example, can we run experiments to see whether one technique of engaging users on a particular topic is more effective or more persuasive than another technique? At Dimagi, we recently ran one such experiment, a randomized controlled trial. We made a chatbot called BudgetBot that ran on Facebook. And what we wanted to test with BudgetBot was whether we could capture the attention of people who were not otherwise interested in family planning or not necessarily interested in family planning. Could we capture their attention through a different topic, say financial planning? And through the chatbot, could we reframe decision-making around family planning in the context of the chatbot user's other personal or professional goals? So BudgetBot was presented in a storytelling format. The chatbot was advertised on Facebook, and all users were randomized into 2 groups. One group got a little over 300 words on financial planning, and the other got 600 words. And what we wanted to see was if the users who got 600 words on financial planning, were they more likely to accept a transition to family planning? The main character of the chatbot or the chatbot persona, BudgetBot, was a man who wanted to open a shop. And so in the chatbot, the persona, BudgetBot, tells the user all about how he wanted to open a shop, how much that would cost him to do, how he went through the decision-making process. And then BudgetBot talks about how at the same time, he and his partner also wanted to start a family. And then both groups of users, both those who got 300 words and 600 words about financial planning, were asked if they wanted to learn more about how BudgetBot and his partner made family planning decisions in the context of financial planning. So what did we find? We found that the users who got more financial planning content were more likely to accept the transition to look at family planning content with a p-value of a little over 0.05, which gives us some reason to believe that such a mechanism of using financial planning to capture people's interest in family planning could potentially be effective. So at Dimagi, we plan to run more such studies and test other mechanisms to drive improved health behaviors via chatbots. What I want to leave you with is this. I know we're always going to want to use chatbots to give people information. It's been my first instinct too. It still is. But if we're going to achieve impact with chatbots, measurable impact, then I wonder if changing how we think about chatbots as purely informational tools is one first step. So the next time you're making a chatbot or thinking of a chatbot use case, a thought experiment might be, what if the end goal of this chatbot you're making is not to give people information? And instead, what if the goal of the chatbot is to, say, address barriers to adopting health behaviors or changing attitudes or improving people's self-efficacy and confidence in making health decisions for themselves? Essentially, if we decided that giving people information was not our primary goal, what kind of effective chatbots could we make? Thank you for watching.